Your mind is not some mysterious force that randomly controls your life. It's a muscle, and just like any muscle, it responds to training. It grows stronger through repetition, challenge, resistance, and discipline. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence or opportunity. They fail because they never train their mind to operate under pressure, to perform when it counts, to stay focused when everything around them is pulling for their attention. They've never conditioned their mind to produce results, and because of that, they live reactive lives instead of intentional ones. Think about how you build a strong body. You don't lift once and expect results. You show up every day, you do the hard reps, you challenge your limits, you don't stop when it's uncomfortable. You keep going until the growth kicks in. The mind works the same way. If you feed it weakness, doubt, fear, and excuses, it will operate from weakness, doubt, fear, and excuses. But if you constantly give it strength, certainty, direction, and purpose, it will rise to that level. It will start to rewire itself to produce the outcomes you demand from it. You don't need a perfect mindset to start. You need to start training the one you've got. You've got to treat your thoughts the way an elite athlete treats their workout. You show up, rain or shine. You put in the work whether you feel like it or not. You ignore the noise. You stay disciplined. You build a mind that doesn't cave under stress, but stays calm and sharp when others fold. That doesn't panic when things get hard, but finds solutions, adjusts, and executes. That kind of mindset is not something you're born with. It's something you build. The difference between average and elite is not talent. It's mental conditioning. It's the small decisions made when no one's watching. It's the ability to stay locked in when distractions are loud. It's having the resilience to keep going when motivation is dead. You don't wait until you're confident to take action. You take action until your mind becomes confident. You show up over and over until your mind believes you are who you say you are. This isn't motivational fluff. This is reality. Every high achiever you admire has trained their mind like a world-class athlete trains their body. They've conditioned their mental patterns, built mental toughness, and developed the ability to think clear under chaos. That's not luck. That's discipline. That's practice. That's daily effort. If you don't like the results you're getting in your life, stop blaming your environment, your past, or other people. Start with your mind. Start treating it like the engine that drives every result you want. Train it to think big. Train it to expect more. Train it to believe in execution over emotion. When you do that, your external world will start to reflect your internal training. The results will show. They always do, because the mind, like a muscle, will grow into whatever you force it to become. Most people let their thoughts follow their emotions. They wake up, and if they feel tired, they think small. If they feel fear, they think retreat. If they feel doubt, they think failure. But the truth is, feelings are unreliable. They change, they fluctuate. And if your thoughts are being dragged around by your emotions, you'll never build consistency. You'll never build power. You'll never build a life based on standards, only a life based on survival. Your thoughts must be trained to obey your standards, not your feelings. Your standards are the non-negotiables, the lines you refuse to cross, the level you refuse to fall below, the level of excellence you demand from yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Feelings come and go, but standards must remain fixed. That's the gap between average and elite. The elite do what needs to be done, no matter how they feel. The average only perform when it's convenient. That gap, that's all mental. If you want results, you must develop a mindset that rejects weakness in thought. You don't allow thoughts of laziness to stay. You don't allow thoughts of maybe later to live in your head. You set a standard, and when the thought doesn't align with that standard, you reject it. You replace it. You rewire it. That's mental discipline. You don't need to feel good to make progress. You need to think with purpose. You need to think from your standards, not your moods. What happens when your standard is high enough? You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop letting your mind wander into excuses. You stop allowing small thinking. Instead, you operate with conviction. You don't get up and ask, "Do I feel like pushing today?" You get up and say, "This is what I do. This is who I am. This is how I live." That is the mindset that produces results. That is the mindset that leads. That is the mindset that dominates. You've got to train yourself to notice when your thinking drops to the level of your emotions. You've got to catch it in the moment and correct it. That thought of skipping the gym, you kill it. That thought of staying average, you crush it. That thought of waiting until next week, you override it. And you do it not with hype, but with clarity, with identity, with standards. You remind yourself, that's not who I am, that's not how I think. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming intentional. It's about choosing your thoughts instead of reacting to feelings. Most people never get the life they want because they keep waiting to feel like it. But champions don't wait. They think in alignment with their highest self, no matter how they feel in the moment. That's the separation. That's the edge. When you master this, your life will change. Because your actions will no longer be dictated by emotion, they'll be commanded by vision, by discipline, and by unshakable standards. And that's how you produce real results. Repetition is the foundation of mastery. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, but it's everything. Repetition is how your mind builds blueprints for success, confidence, and certainty. It's how habits are formed, how beliefs are strengthened, and how identity is created. Most people think they need motivation to act, but what they really need is repetition to rewire. The thoughts you repeat become the instructions your mind follows. If you constantly repeat weakness, doubt, fear, and distraction, don't be surprised when your life mirrors those patterns. Your life is just a reflection of what you've trained your mind to believe. When you repeat strong thoughts, decisive thoughts, thoughts of conviction and vision, you start building a mental pattern that automatically kicks in when pressure hits. That's the key: automatic execution. You don't want to be thinking about what to do in high-stakes moments. You want your mind to instinctively respond with power that only comes from repetition. One strong thought doesn't change your life. 1,000 repeated strong thoughts do. Saying "I'm confident" once won't make you confident, but say it, live it, act on it every single day. And eventually your brain starts accepting it as truth. It becomes your blueprint. This isn't about faking it. It's about programming it. Your mind is programmable. It's not fixed. It doesn't stay stuck unless you keep repeating the same low-level thoughts over and over. The most dangerous thoughts are the ones that become habits. Because once they're automatic, they run the show without you even realizing it. That's why repetition matters so much. It's not just about thinking positive, it's about locking in thoughts that are aligned with the person you're becoming and drilling them into your mind until they become instinct. Look at elite performers. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they aren't more talented. They've just repeated thoughts and behaviors aligned with winning for so long, it's second nature. They don't panic when things go wrong because they've trained their minds to focus, adapt, and stay in control. That doesn't happen by accident. That's not luck. That's reps. Thousands of mental reps, over and over again, drilling the identity of a winner into their nervous system. You have to do the same. You can't just hope for confidence. You build it. You can't just wish for discipline. You install it, and you do that through repetition, not when you feel like it, every single day, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when the old patterns start creeping back. That's when you double down. That's when you remind yourself, this is who I am now. And you say it again and again until your mind stops arguing and starts agreeing. Every belief you want to hold must be reinforced through repetition. Every standard you want to live by must be imprinted with consistency. That's how mental blueprints are built. And once they are built, they guide every decision, every habit, and every action. Repetition isn't boring. Repetition is how you rewire your life. Your mind is constantly under construction. Every thought you entertain, every voice you listen to, every piece of content you consume, it's all shaping your belief system. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is being programmed all day long. The only question is, who's doing the programming? Is it you, or is it the noise of the world? If you want to build a life of power, peace, and progress, you have to control the input. You have to guard the gates of your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Most people allow anything and everything into their mental space. They scroll endlessly through negativity. They listen to people who haven't done anything with their lives. They let opinions from the outside world override their inner vision. And then they wonder why they feel confused, anxious, unmotivated, and stuck. It's not a mystery. You've let the wrong things in. You've allowed junk thoughts and low-energy voices to rent space in the most valuable real estate you have, your mind. The content you consume is not harmless. It creates frameworks. It becomes your internal dialogue. If you feed your brain garbage, your decisions will reflect it. If you surround yourself with toxic people, small thinkers, or constant chaos, don't be surprised when you feel drained, unfocused, and unsure. Your mind cannot outperform its input. You wouldn't expect your body to thrive on poison, so why would your mind? You have to become intentional with every piece of information you allow in. That means curating your environment like your goals depend on it. Stop watching things that lower your energy. Stop engaging in conversations that feed doubt. Stop letting other people's fears become your limitations. Every day, you're either reinforcing belief or reinforcing doubt, and it all starts with what you allow in. Guarding the gates doesn't mean cutting off the world. It means choosing power over noise. It means waking up and deciding that your vision matters more than someone's opinion. It means surrounding yourself with voices that elevate you, not echo chambers of negativity. What you see, hear, and feel on repeat becomes your mental operating system. That system drives your actions, and your actions shape your results. If you want clarity, feed your mind with purpose. If you want discipline, consume content that builds strength. If you want success, limit exposure to failure. Minded thinking, and do this daily, not once, not occasionally. Every single day, you decide who and what has permission to speak into your future. Most people fail not because they don't have talent, but because they don't control their input. They've left the gates wide open and everything got in. Close the gates, be ruthless about what gets your attention. Your time is limited and your mind is sacred ground. Protect it, respect it, and program it with the thoughts, people, and environments that match the life you're building. Because once you control the input, you start taking back control of your results. Focus is the hidden weapon most people never learn how to use. In a world full of noise, distractions, and constant demands for attention, the ability to lock in on one thing with total commitment has become rare, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Focus separates the dreamers from the doers. It's the difference between starting something and finishing it, between talking about success and actually building it. Most people don't fail because they're not talented or intelligent. They fail because they can't focus. They chase everything and catch nothing. One day they're excited, the next day they're distracted. They start with energy, then get pulled in 1,000 directions. That kind of life produces exhaustion, not excellence. Success requires obsession. It requires narrowing your energy into the things that truly matter and cutting off everything else. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but with more intensity and consistency. Every time you allow distraction to take over, you weaken your ability to execute. You train your brain to switch constantly, to never sit in deep work, to never fully commit to one mission at a time. And without deep focus, there's no deep progress. You can't build something extraordinary in fragments. You need long, uninterrupted stretches of intense focus to create anything meaningful, whether it's a business, a body, a relationship, or a life of purpose. Dabbling leads to disappointment. Mastery demands focus. People think focus is just about willpower. It's not. Focus is a choice. It's a skill. It's something you train every single day by deciding what gets your energy and what doesn't. You train it by saying no more often, by turning off the noise, by deleting distractions, not just resisting them. You don't rise to your goals by accident, you rise by focusing like your future depends on it, because it does. You must become laser sharp on what you want and ruthless about protecting your time and energy from anything that doesn't support that vision. That means turning off notifications. That means walking away from conversations that lead nowhere. That means eliminating habits that kill momentum. Focus isn't passive, it's aggressive. It's not about convenience, it's about conviction. You have to want your dream more than you want the distraction. That's the test, and the truth is, focus feels uncomfortable at first. Your mind will want to wander, you'll want to check your phone, start a new project, take a break. But every time you resist that impulse and stay locked in, you're strengthening the most valuable muscle you have, your focus. It's what allows you to go deeper, move faster, and execute with clarity while everyone else is scrambling to keep up. If you want to achieve greatness in anything, stop chasing everything, focus, get obsessed with one mission. One goal, one standard. The world rewards people who go all in, not those who dabble in a dozen directions. Focus is your superpower, but only if you choose to use it. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they take action. They wait to feel like it, but here's the brutal truth: motivation is unreliable. It's a temporary emotion, not a permanent strategy. If you build your habits around being motivated, you'll be inconsistent. You'll start strong and fade fast. That's why the people who produce results don't rely on motivation, they rely on training. They train their mind every single day, no matter how they feel. And that daily discipline creates momentum, identity, and power that motivation alone could never touch. You don't brush your teeth only when you feel like it. You don't show up to work only on the days you're inspired. You do it because it's a non-negotiable. You've trained your brain that this is what must be done. The same mindset must be applied to everything that matters: your goals, your growth, your character. You must train your mind to perform even when your emotions tell you to quit. That's the real difference maker. There will be days when you're tired, days when you're stressed, days when nothing feels aligned, but those are the days that define you. Anyone can be great when they feel good, but the people who win long-term are the ones who have trained themselves to show up regardless. They've built a mind that says, I do this because it's who I am, not because I feel like it today. That kind of thinking is what separates people who dabble from people who dominate. Daily training doesn't mean hours of intense grind. It means showing up in small, consistent ways that align with your identity and vision. It could be 10 minutes of journaling. It could be sticking to your routine. It could be keeping one promise you made to yourself. But you do it daily, not when it's convenient, but because it's required. When you train this way, your mind starts to shift. You stop seeing effort as optional. You stop waiting for inspiration and start creating action. That's how results are produced, not in big, rare moments of passion, but in quiet, consistent moments of training. The mind is like a wild horse when untrained. It will drift, get distracted, sabotage your progress. But the moment you take the reins and start showing up daily, even in small ways, you begin to take back control. You start turning chaos into clarity, emotion into execution, and doubt into discipline. If you want to be elite, you can't depend on how you feel. You must depend on who you are, and who you are is built in the training. Every single day you train your mind, you're casting votes for the person you want to become. You're building resilience, fortitude, and identity, and over time that training becomes your edge. Your habits take over. Your discipline becomes automatic, and your life starts producing results, not because you were motivated, but because you were consistent. Because you trained when others took days off. That's how greatness is built, daily, relentlessly, without excuse.